Hello, World Tapping Circle. How is everyone today? I'm so happy that you made it with your intention to be here with us, to come and create space so that you can heal and transform with us tonight. Sonia is out on an adventure sharing EFT magic with the world, and so I get to share it with you tonight here online, and I'm super excited. And we have a very special intention which we're welcoming into the circle tonight, and the intention really is surrounding self-love and really how when we love ourselves we can create anything that we want. So tonight I really want to draw your attention and your focus into self-love, into loving yourself more. And as we love ourselves more, we get to forgive ourselves for mistakes and get to move forward rather than holding on or blaming ourselves or being stuck in the past. So that's our topic for tonight, self-love. And I just got back from a really wonderful trip to Harbin Hot Springs, which was awesome. And it was one of those moments where, you know, you're soaking in the hot springs and you get to really just deeply dive into your own being and see all the areas that maybe aren't getting the love that they need. And that's what we get to do tonight. We get to look into all the areas that we've kind of blocked away or we haven't looked at, and we're going to just soak them in love. So I want to turn the microphone over to a couple of our beautiful teachers who are here in the circle. So let's start with Harry tonight, and would love for you just to share with everyone, either for yourself or other people that you've worked with, how the concept or working with self-love has transformed people's ability to heal and grow.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jen. Nice to be here, and welcome everybody. This is really going back to basics. You know, self-love is right at the core of all of this EFT work that we do. And I'm reminded of some sessions I did recently with someone that was completely new to EFT, who had come to me through a recommendation just to investigate this practice. A chiropractor friend of hers had told her about it. And the practice itself was just so unlike anything else she'd ever done. Where this idea of offering compassion to herself was completely new. This was something totally foreign from her world up until that moment, and it was such a privilege to be able to just kind of offer this idea that yes, you can love yourself, you can offer compassion to yourself. She was quite accustomed to the idea of offering that to friends, you know, and I think this is quite common for most of us. The idea of giving compassion and love to our friends who are in difficulty or in need and just, you know, need some support and care. That's easy, but to offer that to ourselves, that's more tricky, and you know, who knows why. I guess we just don't grow up doing that. But just that part of this process, you know, quite apart from the tapping or the actual details of what we were getting into, just the offering love to herself part was so transformative. So I think to people tonight, I would just say, like, don't gloss over that part of this. That offering to yourself is so powerful in and of itself. We can often, you know, go through the motions with EFT, just say, you know, yeah, I love myself, I love myself. See if you can really say that with intention tonight. Like, see if you can really mean it and see what happens.
Thank you, Harry. Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it is really the core of the practice, and it's infinitely deep as well. We can go infinitely deep with how much we can love one thing or oneself. So thanks for sharing that. And Erin, how about you? Have you got something to share?
I sure do. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the circle. This is Erin. I'm calling in from Minnesota tonight. I'm visiting my family, which is a really great opportunity for me to practice a lot of self-love for myself as my patterns show up. But being asked this question, I thought of a client that I had been seeing, and this person had this amazing opportunity in front of her, and she had been interviewing for a job position, and I was doing some tapping with her around whether or not she wanted to take this job position. And what it turned out was that she she was having a lack of love for herself and compassion for herself, and was really holding back from this job position. She actually couldn't even see it as this incredible opportunity that could totally meet and serve her needs. And it really had a lot to do with self-love and really valuing herself and her self-worth. And what happened is we tapped through the decision of whether or not for her to move forward on taking this job. If she found out that actually she really did want the job, she was really excited about moving forward. She just didn't think that that they would actually give her the job, that they would give her the money that she wanted for the job, and that they would give her additional moving, like cover her moving expenses or cover a period of time she had scheduled for vacation. She just couldn't see that it would be possible that anybody would make those accommodations for her. So it had so much to do with her own perception of how other people saw her, which is really her own reflection of how she was seeing herself. So as we moved through those patterns, just in one session, she had her job interview the next day and was able to clearly articulate exactly what it is that she wanted, and in a way where she knew that she deserved that and that she was at least moving forward and asking for what you want. Long story short, she actually got the job, she got the raise that she wanted, and she was able to take the time off, and they were able to give her special moving accommodations. So it's just really amazing to see the power of what self-love can do and how tapping can really help propel us forward in the lives that we really want.
That's so beautiful, Erin, and I totally agree, because there's all these other perks that really come when you start loving yourself. It's like, okay, now I'm worthy of that pay raise, or now I'm worthy of having the partner that I really want, and that worthiness really comes from that self-love. So that's just such a great example of how when we love ourselves, everything gets optimized and moved to the next level. So would love everyone tonight just to think about that, what you're going to be bringing love to, and then in the meantime, let's move over to the chat. And just write your name and where you're joining the circle from tonight. And we're going to say a big hello to everyone that's joining the room. And I'm just going to go down the list and then, yeah, chat it on in. So we've got Sarah. We got Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence. Lawrence is in my tapping circle in Venice. I've got Christian, John, Damali, Mary, Celeste. Hi, Christina, Newt, Hannah, Rachel, Mateo, Anne. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It really is a treasure to have you in the circle. We were just talking before, behind the curtain, how wonderful it is to have this circle that we all get to share in and we all get to have once a week. So thank you for continuously showing up for yourself in the circle with us. We really love it, and we know it's good for us and for you. So thanks for coming. So tonight I'm going to just open up with the pop-ins. If you're new to the circle, basically we're going to share the core causes with you, which is basically a survey with your core cause questions about what you're working on tonight and what you're going to be processing and what all those trigger points are for you. So if you see in the right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little Get Started button, and just click that, and that's going to take you to the core causes. And I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to fill that out, and just tune in, see what it is that you want to focus on tonight, and then I'll be back to share our results together in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to just 30 more seconds. Just get your answers finished up before we go into reading your results. Okay, just finishing up your results now. Getting your final submissions in. Great. So we're going to go over our results. Thanks to everyone that got all of your answers in. And if you were at home watching us on replay, hopefully you're able to follow through with the screen share and get your answers down. So tonight, looking at our answers, it looks like we have an even spread between relationship, health and body, and then some addiction, some money, and some other issues. So we're pretty evenly spread there. And then looking at our negative feelings that come up around these issues. So 70% are on fear and being afraid. That's usually one of the top ones. But you'll also see as we go down, we've got anxious and worried, which are all flavors of fear, really, also at 70% of the room feeling that tonight. So there really is a lot of fear to go there, which we'll really look at together. There's also quite a bit of sadness and grieving loss. So I know that some of you are working on relationships and things, so that can definitely be a hard point to look at. As we move down, we've got feelings of helplessness, addicted, misunderstood, disconnected, vengeful and spiteful, and quite an array of other emotions which are popping up for everyone tonight. And then what is your negative self-talk? So I'm just going to write some of these down so that I can put them in our script for us. So we've got, it's impossible to heal and I don't have what it takes. We've also got, I don't want to be targeted. I should have ... So that's wishing that something, you should have done something or should have said something. I'm not ready. I'm too much. It's not fair. My needs don't matter. It's out of my control. It's too hard. I'll never succeed. I don't deserve happiness. So just as we read through these can trigger us even as we read them. So if you just want to be tapping on your chest as we go through the answers, that will just help you get more in touch with the emotions rather than really flying off the handle by being triggered. Okay, so what does your culture say about this? So karma, I deserve to suffer. It's time to grow up. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. You can do it. You're running out of time. You should know better. And then if your issue had a color, so as we can see, dark is really on the high, and then also greenish yellow. And as Sonia's shared in previous weeks, the color really does represent what's going on inside your body. It's a great way to get in touch with more of a visceral feeling of it as well. So dark means, you know, you've shut out a lot for a while and it's starting to get really dark inside your beings. Dark thoughts, negativity. Greenish yellow is infection, things are becoming infected inside of you, like pussy and things like that, and that can also show up as a physical expression as well inside your body. So when did this issue first start? I really love this question, and I love that we have a lot of regulars on because we can all really take that to the earlier ages as well. A lot of people are saying their whole life, and then we have some scattered around 10 to 12, at birth, and then also 41 to 50 and other. And who do you blame or hold responsible for this issue? So this is a really good question because by getting in touch with who's related to this issue, we can also clear out those threads, those energetic ties that we have to those people that we hold in our subconscious that's always affecting us. So a lot of people are saying mother, also myself. A lot of the time we point to ourselves, but it's really interesting tonight. Mum is on the top, Dad has got some, and then also my karma, aliens, and no one. So once again, we're all having a pretty varied experience. Who in your family modeled similar attitudes and feelings? This is another great question because not only can we be affected by people's actions that raised us or that influenced us earlier on, we can also pick up things that happened earlier on as well, and the way our parents or people that raised us perceived certain events and the way they dealt with things, we can pick up those attitudes and feelings. So mum definitely left an imprint on us, and then we've got grandparents and multiple people who raised me. Where do you feel this in your body? So as we look down, we've got a nice movement between the head, the entire body, the chest, the heart, the back, the stomach, the feet, and I can't feel it in my body. If you can't feel it in your body, sometimes there may be some numbness. And so if you are feeling numb tonight, you can't quite feel it in your body, you can also just change the word to I feel numb, and that might help relieve some of that pressure there. If your issue had a texture, what would it be and what would it feel like? So we have tight, heavy, sharp, jagged, smoky, oozing, slimy, and inflamed. What benefits do you think you're receiving by holding on to the issue? We've got protection, punishing myself, and proving something. So this is a really interesting piece. A lot of the time we're saying protection, but tonight is really on the high with 55.6% punishing ourselves. Perhaps you believe you did something wrong or something happened that you could have prevented and now you're punishing yourself. So we'll definitely work on that. I'm going to make a note of that right now just so that we can forgive ourselves a little for the things that we did in the past. And then we're looking at the intensity of our issue. Nothing is below a 7 tonight, with 9 really being the highest of count of what people are feeling, which gives us plenty of space to move. So if we move down below 6, I know that we're doing well, and just ask you to courageously feel tonight as you go through it. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and trust that we're going to get you to the other side of the river, and you're going to feel much better once you get through it. Okay, so I'm just going to bring myself back on. Great, here we go. So I just want you to tune in now to the issue that you're working on, and we're just going to massage underneath the collarbone right here. So this is the emotional well where we store a lot of our emotion. And just to start with, let's just really get familiar with all of this that we're working on that we just went over, and just tune into it right now. Just tune into the intensity of what it is for you. And then repeat after me, and if the word isn't completely accurate, you can also change the word. Say I say sad and you actually feel angry. I really invite you to edit the script so that you can really match what you're feeling, and that will allow you to get a greater healing. Okay, so tapping between the brows. Even though I have this issue. And I want you just to describe out loud what that issue is for you. This issue, that, and then just describe it out loud. Tapping the cheeks. This issue, that. I'm really scared of looking at this issue. And so usually at the start we might feel a little bit of anxiousness around really going there. So let's just look at that for a moment. I'm kind of scared of looking at this issue. Tapping the chest. Even though I'm really scared to look at this issue, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the front of the ribs, this issue, and name the issue out loud again. Part of me really doesn't want to go here. Tapping the side of the ribs. It's way too uncomfortable. I'm really afraid to go here. Take a deep breath and release some sound. Tapping the top corner where the nail meets the edge. Even though I'm really afraid to look at this and just name the issue, I'm willing to give it a try. Even though I'm really afraid, tapping the next finger, it's possible I can heal this. Tapping the opposite side of the next finger, it's possible if I look at this, I can heal this. I'm open to giving it a try, even though it's really scary. And just tune into the fear around really going into it, because it's a scary thing to look at, and you know there's a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of uncomfortabilities in it. Just let yourself accept that you're kind of scared to look at it right now. And just feel that resistance to really going there. And then I want you to take a deep breath into that resistance and just release some sound. This issue, and just tapping the side of the hand, this issue, and just describe the feeling. It makes me feel really stuck and afraid. I'm really worried about this issue. Tapping between the brows, even though I'm worried about this issue. And it makes me feel stuck inside. I'm open to loving and accepting myself anyway. This hard, stuck place that makes me blame myself. This hard, stuck place that makes me feel trapped. Part of me thinks it's impossible to heal. Tapping underneath the nose, part of me thinks I don't have what it takes. And just tune into that feeling that you don't have what it takes. I don't have what it takes. Tapping underneath the lips, I love and accept myself. Even though I think I don't have what it takes. Tapping the front of the chest, it's possible I'm still a good person. And I'm still worthy of love. And I'm worthy of transforming this right now. This feeling, and just describe the top 3 feelings that come up for you when you think about your issue. This feeling, and just name those 3 emotions. Tapping the front of the ribs, it feels really, and name those 3 for yourself. Tapping the side of the ribs, it feels really. We're going to do a little power through with these feelings. So I really want you to feel them, because that's how we clear them. We get in touch by really feeling what they feel like, so we can move it out of our nervous system. So I want you to really feel these feelings. Tapping the side of the wrist, it really feels like, and just describe it. Tapping the side of the thumb, it really feels, and name what those feelings are. Tapping the next finger, it really feels. Tapping the next finger, it really feels. Opposite side of the next finger, even though it really feels, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Okay, so just lean into what you've been feeling around it, whatever it has been blocking you, what those feelings are related to this issue. And I want you to just feel it. Let yourself accept that that's what's been there. That's what's been happening in the background for you. Just accept it right now. And then take a deep breath into it and release some sound. Tapping the inside of the little finger. I'm open to accepting these feelings. Even though part of me doesn't want to. Tapping the side of the hand. I'm open to accepting these feelings. Even though part of me doesn't want to. I don't have to accept these feelings. I never have to accept these feelings. I can hold on to these feelings as long as I want to. And you can't make me let them go. Just point at me. You can't make me let them go. I'm not letting them go. Tapping all over the head. I never have to let this go. You wouldn't believe what happened. I have a right to hold on to these emotions. And I'm planning on taking them to my grave with me. So let's just give ourselves permission right now to hold on to these feelings, these reactions inside of us to the day that we die. I know that you don't want to. That's going to change your mind. But let's just do it as an exercise. I'm planning on holding on to these emotions until the day I die. Tapping between the brows. I'm holding on until the day I die. And just tune into what that would look like in your life, how that would feel in your body if you held on to these negative emotions for the rest of your life. Just tune into how that would feel in your body. Tune into how that would affect your life. And just let yourself have it right here, right now. Let's just do it for the future. Might as well just do it quickly, right? I'm going to hold on to this for the rest of my life. I'm never going to let this go. Tapping the cheeks. I can hold on to this for as long as I want to. And I plan on taking it into the next life. Okay, maybe I'm open to letting it go now. Are you guys ready to let it go now? These emotions that are creating havoc? I'm open to letting these emotions go. And just tune into those emotions. Let's just give them some compassion because they're there for a reason. It's possible that they're there trying to protect you. They're trying to prove something. So let's just welcome them into our compassionate heart right now. Rather than making them wrong, let's just open our compassion to them and send them some forgiveness because it's a survival instinct that you're holding onto them. And so just tapping underneath the lips and just send an infinite wave of compassion to all these emotions that you've been holding onto, that you've been defending your life with, that you've been defending and shrinking with in proportion to what's happening in your world. And let's just give them some love because that's really what they're asking for. I'm open to giving these emotions love now. And I want you to tune into how those emotions feel in your body. Where are they in your body? I've been feeling them deeply in my... Where have you been feeling them? I've been feeling them deeply in my... And what does it feel like in your body? It feels like... I forgive myself for holding it in my body. Part of me thought I needed to. Part of me thinks I can let it go now. No matter how long I've been holding it in my, and where is it in your body? It's possible I can let it move out of my body now. So tune into wherever that is in your body If it's in your shoulders, if it's in your heart, if it's in your neck, tune into it. Let yourself feel it. Tapping the front of the ribs. I forgive myself for holding this in my body and not knowing what else to do with it. I'm still a good person, and I'm still worthy of love. And I'm ready to heal this now. Tapping the side of the ribs. I want you just to tune into that part of your body right now. Let yourself really lean into it. Let yourself really feel that in that part of your body. And then as you lean into it, take a deep breath. I want to hear a big sigh out of everyone all the way across to Venice, California. Sigh it on out. Good work. Tapping the side of the wrist. I love and deeply accept myself exactly as I am, even though I've had this for so long. And I want you to tune in, tapping the side of the thumb, of your earliest memory when this first started. Tune into that memory. What's the earliest memory? And then I want you to describe it to me. It all started when, and just describe what was happening. Tapping the inside, the next finger. It all started when, and just describe what was happening. Tapping the big finger, and then what happened? It all started when, tapping the opposite side of the next finger. And what did that make you start to think about yourself? I started thinking that when what happened? Tapping the inside of the little finger. I started thinking I should have, and fill in the blank. I should have what? Tapping all over the head. I should have, and just say it out loud. What should you have done, or what should you have said in relation to how you've been blaming yourself around this? I've been telling myself I should have. Tapping between the brows. I've been blaming myself. Tapping the temples. I've been blaming myself and saying I should have. Tapping the cheeks. I love and accept myself, even though part of me doesn't think I can forgive myself. Part of me thinks I should have. Tapping underneath the nose. I forgive myself. And if you can't quite forgive yourself yet, just say I'm open to maybe one day forgiving myself. I'm open to maybe forgiving myself. Tapping the chest. It could be more enjoyable if I forgive myself. I might be able to heal it if I forgive myself. Even though it was a really terrible thing. And who was involved? And it really hurt. And name that person that was involved. I'm open to forgiving myself for not knowing how to love deeper. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm open to forgiving myself for holding back my love. Tapping the side of the ribs. I'm open to forgiving myself for being really scared and reacting. I'm still a good person, and I'm still worthy of love. And I'm open to forgiving myself for not knowing better and acting out of fear. Tapping the side of the wrist. So I want you just to tune into any resistance you've had towards yourself around this issue, any blame that you've been putting on yourself, any resentment that you've had about the way you've behaved around this issue or how you've affected other people around it. I want you just to tune into any resistance you have towards yourself around this. And it's an uncomfortable thing, so I want you to just feel it for a moment so we can clear it out so that we can create a new pattern. I'm ready to clear this self-blame. Tapping the side of the thumb because I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of living a better life. I'm worthy of stepping into my potential. It could be better for me and the world if I just forgive myself. Tapping the inside of the, tapping the next finger. I'm open to forgiving myself for learning about love this way. Tapping the next finger. I'm open to forgiving myself for being so scared about this issue. Okay, so you guys ready to do some forgiveness now? You want to move through this? I want to hear you say, yeah, yeah. Good. I'm ready to let this go. Tapping the inside of the opposite side of the next finger. I really want to let this go. I want to move on. Tapping the inside of the little finger, and I'm ready to forgive myself. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just tune in. Are you guys ready to give some forgiveness to all of those squirmy areas inside of you? All of those pain points, all of those resentments. Let's find them, locate them. You know where they are within your own being. You know where you've been holding back love from yourself. You know what you've been saying to yourself. You know how you've been punishing yourself. So I want you to find those right now and go into them, because now is the moment. Now is the moment where you get to really heal and forgive and let go. So feel them, locate them, hold them in your empathy, in your love. Let them be held in the arms of forgiveness. Really go there, and if you can't quite go there, just feel the uncomfortability, because that's going to help you, just simple acceptance. And then once you're really feeling it, all of those little points of resentment and resistance, breathe deeply into it and expand it, and then release with some sound. I'm ready to move on. And I forgive myself for holding back. I'm ready to move on. And I forgive myself for holding back. Take another deep breath, release some sound. Okay, great. So I'm going to do a quick check-in with everyone. So if you're watching this live with us tonight, I would love for you just to write in the chat what number you were to start with and what number you're at right now, and something that you're moving through, like what is the piece of resistance that you're currently moving through in this stage of the journey with EFT. So just where you started with the number, where you are now. And if you're watching this on replay, just keep tapping, keep focusing on what it is that's stopping you from moving forward fully in this journey? What is that piece for you? And while we wait for people's numbers to come in, just taking some long, deep breaths and releasing sound as you feel whatever that piece is that you have been holding onto in your story. So we've got Erin, who's just written in. She's gone from a 7 up to an 8 and down to a 6. So she's working on some shame, embarrassment, and grief. And these are really good. It's really good to write your pieces in because I can apply them to the session that we're in right now. We've got Anne from a 9 to a 5, and she's moving through guilt. So these are all really natural feelings of emotions, especially since the crowd, all of us were really working on a thread of punishing ourselves. So all of these emotions of embarrassment and guilt are all tied into really the self-punishment as well. So these are the different branches that come out of the self-punishment. So Kyle is getting better at allowing, 7 down to a 6. Hannah, 6 to a 4, and a 6 to a 5.5. So maybe Hannah has a couple of people there with her. John, 6 to about a 4. Lawrence started at a 9, down to a 7, helplessness and anxious. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Lawrence. 10 to a 7 for Mary, moving through grief. 5 to a 4 with Mateo, weakness in the body accumulated from overwork. Can definitely relate that. So if you're going through some body stuff tonight, Mateo, or anyone else, just really focus on the physical sensations as we also approach the emotional component as well. So that's going to give you a double whammy. So Christina, 10 to an 8. Harry, 8 to a 5. I think it's actually just familiarity, holding this together. Kat, 7 to a 6. Grief, guilt, self-blame, regret. Christian, 7 to a 5, anxiousness, diminishing. Queen Bee, she went from a 10 up to a 12 and now back down to a 10, feeling trapped, angry, and sad. Okay, just keep tapping on those feelings. Christina, 10 to an 8, working on fear. Ginger Christina, 9 to an 8, still unsure, can't trust myself to trust others fully. Okay. And then Celeste, working on being more present so that I can be more present to get more of what I need accomplished. That's a really beautiful thing, Celeste. And I feel like that's really what we're doing with tapping. We're bringing presence to everything. And Lawrence, once again, getting underneath physical injury. Beautiful, because the physical injury is always a byproduct of something that was stored in the emotional body long before. Okay, so let's just continue our tap right here. Massaging underneath the collarbones. And I want you to tune into that issue that's for you, the number that it is. And I just want you to repeat after me, even though I still have, and just name the number for yourself. Tapping between the brows, even though it's still A, and name the number. Tapping the temples, and it makes me feel, and name what it makes you feel. Tapping the cheeks. This makes me feel, I feel really trapped. I feel really scared. It's still A, and just name the number. And part of me scared that this will never go away. Tapping underneath the nose. I love and deeply accept myself. Exactly as I am, even though I have this fear that it will never go away. I accept that I'm afraid. I accept that I feel trapped and anxious and scared. It's possible that I'm worthy of love, even though some really bad things happened. I'm open to forgiving myself and moving on. So who was involved in this earlier issue with you? So let's move into some of the who's responsible, who's to blame piece. And if you're blaming yourself, you can still work on it with yourself. Or if it's someone else, let's pull that other person who's responsible into the picture right now so that we can get some clearing on the whole situation. So tapping the front of the ribs. Part of me blames, and just name who it is that you blame. Tapping the side of the ribs. Part of me blames. Because why? Because what happened? Just name it for yourself. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm blaming, and name the person, or if it's yourself, you can say yourself, because of what happened. This blame and shame that I've been holding on to, that makes me feel guilty sometimes. Part of me wishes I didn't blame and shame so much. Tapping the thumb. But I am blaming and shaming. I'm trying to prove a point. I can blame and shame as long as I want to. I can blame and shame as long as I want to. Just give yourself the opportunity to blame and shame whoever is involved as long as you want to, and let yourself feel what that feels like to blame and shame someone, if it's yourself or if it's someone else. I'm allowing myself to blame and shame. Tapping the next finger, even though it doesn't feel good in my body, to hold all this blame and resentment. And I've been holding on to it for a long time. Tapping the opposite side of the finger, it's possible that it's not helping to hold on to this blame and shame. It's possible it's not helping. Tapping the inside of the little finger, it might be making the situation worse. Holding on to this blame and shame between me and say who else is involved. Tapping the side of the hand, it might be making it worse. I forgive myself for holding on for so long and not being able to trust. I'm really afraid to trust again. I'm afraid something really bad will happen if I choose to trust. And just tune into that fear of fully letting go and trusting the situation. Tune into what that feels like in your body, that fear around really trusting. And that resistance that comes up when there is an opportunity to trust, and then you go into your reaction mode instead. You shrink or you defend. Just tune into that particular tendency that happens for yourself when there is an opportunity to trust. It makes me, and what does it do for you? Do you shrink, or do you come out and defend and get really angry, or do you hide? What do you do as a result of your fear of trusting? It makes me, and just say it out loud. Tapping between the brows. It makes me. Tapping the temples because I'm afraid to trust. And it's understandable I'm afraid to trust. You wouldn't believe what happened. Tapping the cheeks. I had my trust taken away. And that makes me really sad. Just tune into any sadness you have around not being able to trust anymore because it was taken away. And how part of your freedom has gone because you can't trust. And you're constantly on the defense because now you can't trust. Just tune into any sadness or any feelings that come up around not being able to fully trust. And then when you're feeling it, I want you to really breathe into it. Create some space into that, and then release some sound. Tapping underneath the nose. I'm learning to trust again. Tapping underneath the lips. It's possible I can trust. Tapping the front of the chest. I'm open to trusting again. Even though it's been a long time. And I'm really scared to trust. Part of me thinks I need to protect myself. And so I can't trust. Part of me just wants to trust. I'm really scared of trusting. Just say it out loud. I'm really scared of trusting. It's scary to trust. I might not be able to look after myself. It could feel really unsafe if I really trusted. Just tune into any of that place within yourself that feels unsafe around trusting. I want you to get familiar with that unsafe feeling, because that unsafe feeling is actually what attracts the unsafe things to come to you. So I want you to get familiar with feeling that unsafe feeling right in this moment so that we can clear it out, so that you can feel safe, so that you can move forward in safety, because that's then your core resonance, rather than attracting unsafety because you're afraid of unsafety, okay? So tapping the side of the wrist, I've been feeling unsafe. And I love and accept myself. Tapping the side of the wrist, even though I've been feeling unsafe. Just tune into that unsafe feeling. Take a deep breath and release some sound. And I want you now to tune into the memory that took place where you felt really unsafe. Tune into what was happening. How old were you? Who was involved? What was taking place that made you feel really unsafe? Tapping the side of the next finger. And what did you need back then as a little kid or as a younger version of you, whenever it was? What did you need in order to feel safe and secure and lifted up? And I want you just to tune into what that younger version of you needed. Tapping the next finger. And then from your higher self, your adult, mature self, I want you to go in and give that to that little kid or that younger version of yourself, at whatever age that memory is coming up for you. I want you to give that to that younger version right now. And I want that younger version to softly and subtly just open up to receiving what it needed back then. Tapping the opposite side of the next finger. I'm receiving, and name what it is that you're receiving. Tapping the inside of the little finger, top corner. I'm receiving. Tapping the side of the hand. I'm receiving. Tapping all over the head. It's possible I'm worthy of receiving, and name it out loud. Even though I didn't get it back then. And I really wish they had given it to me. But they didn't give it to me. I'm giving it to myself now. Take a deep breath, release some sound. Tapping between the brows. I'm giving, and just name what it is out loud. What are you giving to yourself now? Tapping the temples. I'm giving, and name it again. Tapping the cheeks. I'm giving myself the safety that I needed back then. I'm giving myself the protection and care that I needed back then. I'm worthy of this safety and care. Tapping underneath the nose, and I'm giving it to myself now because they didn't give it to me. And just give it to yourself, because not everyone can show up the way we need them to, but we can show up the way we need ourselves to. That's one thing that we have the choice over. So let's give it to ourselves now, because it's the only thing we truly have control over. Tapping underneath the lips, I want you to tune into that image, that younger version of yourself. Really let that younger version soak up that safety, that care, that protection, that love that it needed. And then take a deep breath and release some sound. Tapping the front of the chest. I forgive myself for however this affected me and how it made me think. And what did you think about yourself as a result of this happening? Tapping the front of the ribs. I forgive myself for thinking. And what did you think? What limiting belief came out of you because of this really unsafe situation? Tapping the side of the ribs. I forgive myself for thinking. Side of the wrist. I forgive myself for thinking I wasn't good enough. I forgive myself for thinking I didn't deserve love. I forgive myself for thinking I had to hide my energy. I forgive myself for thinking that I needed to defend myself in order to survive. Tapping the opposite side. I forgive myself for thinking, and what was your piece? What was your piece that you thought that started repeating itself in your mind from that point onwards? Was it that you weren't good enough? Was it that money doesn't grow on trees? Or was it that your body doesn't look good? What was it for you? Tapping the inside of the little finger. I forgive myself for thinking. Tapping the side of the hand. I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of shining my light. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of safety. I'm worthy of celebrating who I am. And what is the opposite thought that you had? So if you had a thought that you weren't worthy of love, then the opposite thought would be, I am worthy of love. So what was your thought? And what would be the opposite thought that you could change right now to? Okay, so I want you to locate that opposite thought, and let's just say that a few times. I am, and I want you to say it in an affirmation. I am. Tapping the temples. I am. Tapping the cheeks. I am. And what does it feel like when you say that, when you feel that, when you're living that? I'm worthy of feeling. And I want you to say those top 3 things that you're worthy of feeling right now. Tapping underneath the nose. I'm worthy of feeling. Tapping underneath the lips. I'm worthy of feeling. Tapping the chest. I am, and say that affirmation. I'm ready to. What are you ready for now? I forgive myself for holding back. I forgive myself for judging myself. Tapping the front of the ribs. I forgive myself for thinking I wasn't good enough. I forgive myself for doubting my power. And let's just tune into whatever you made up in your mind, whatever belief that has been dictating the way you experience this challenge. I want you just to tune into all the little spikes that have been spiking you out. What are those negative things that have been like pushing and poking at you as a result of this thought? What habits has it been creating for you? What addictive patterns? What reactions has this one thought been doing to you and your life and your potential in your life? And I just want you to feel that blanket right now of everything that is poking you out and creating and doing and justifying and making that one thought. And I want you to feel into that thread right now. Let yourself feel all of those pieces and then take a deep breath and release some sound. Good one. Well done, guys. Okay, we're going to do a quick check-in now. So just want you to write in what it started at in a number, where it is now, and what's holding it together for you. So popping that in the chat box. What was the number? What is the number now? And what is holding it together for you? And once again, if you've written in your number, then just keep tapping. Keep breathing through those spiky pieces that are jarring at your energy, and keep breathing through those. So clearing those out of your nervous system. And if you're watching this on replay, just keep tapping while we wait for those responses to come in. And, you know, these emotional components and these beliefs, they show up in so many ways in our life. They create so many patterns of discord and habits and addictive patterns where sometimes you don't know why you have an addiction to something or why you have a pattern of something. And sometimes it's as simple as a limiting belief that you haven't examined. And so that's what we get to do right here. We're examining all of those beliefs that we've picked up from all of those memories, and then we're changing the beliefs through bringing love to them. Okay, so we've got Anne. She has gone from a 9 down to a 3. Doubt is holding it together. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that, Anne. Hannah, a 6 to a 3 and a 6 to a 4.5. She's looking for some peace. Christina, a 10 to a 6. Keep going, Christina. You can do it. Keep giving yourself the love that you deserve and the compassion that your heart needs right now in this process. Erin, an 8 to a 4. She doubts that she'll be able to succeed in the long run and fear that I'll let myself down again. Okay, so fear of letting yourself down. Okay, so Celeste, I think she started at a 10. She wrote 0, but that looks like a 10 down to a 6. The injury will not move out yet. It's very distracting and stops me from living. Okay, so Celeste, you want to work on your resistance to it not moving as well. So any like anger or resentment to the fact that it's not moving faster than what you want. So that's the layer on top. You clear that, and then you can start getting into the movement itself. But you have to really clear out that resistance to it not moving as well. So Kat, 7 to a 4, it's my fault. Okay, there's a lot of self-blame that we're working on tonight. So this is a really good piece for really self-love. It worked really well with the topic which came through. 10 to a 5 for Damali, afraid to let go. Celeste, still at a 9. Celeste, we know how you move with these things, so just keep tapping, keep breathing, move through it moment by moment. So there may be a long memory, but go through it like with a fine-tooth comb, and let's just love each and every increment of that. Kyle, 7 to a 5, stories I believe seem strong and rigid. Okay, so there's some rigid there. Queen Bee, still a 10, don't know how to be happy, how to move forward, okay? Great. Thanks for sharing that, Queen Bee. Harry, 8 to a 4, still mostly habit, I think. Lawrence, it's okay to matter. Yeah, it is okay to matter. Thank you. Well, this gives us some good feedback of what we're going to move into in the next part of the session. Okay, so let's all just massaging underneath the collarbone again. Okay, so I want you just to tune into that number, whatever resistance you have towards that number right now. It's not going to move. I don't believe it. I'm not good enough. I'm afraid. Whatever that piece is for you, I want you to get intimate with it and just accept it. Let's not try to change it. We just want to accept the feeling. So tapping between the brows, even though I still feel, and just name what you still feel around this issue. I love and accept myself. Tapping the temples, I still feel. Tapping the cheeks, I still feel. Tapping underneath the nose. I accept that I still feel, and just accept what it is that you still feel. We're not trying to force it into anything right now. Acceptance is what moves it, okay? So let's just accept what it is that you're feeling. I want you to really just accept it. I accept that I still feel. Name it out loud. I love and accept myself, even if this doesn't move any further. I'm open to loving and accepting myself anyway, even if this doesn't move further. It's possible I'm worthy of love, even if this stuck place doesn't move any further. Even if this habit never moves. I love and accept myself. So just give some love and acceptance to the fact that this may never move. And just accept whatever comes up around that right now. I accept that this may never move. And then take a deep breath into just fully accepting that, and I want you to release a big sigh. Tapping the front of the ribs. I still have doubt that I can get through this. I don't believe in myself. I don't believe in myself. And who did you pick that up off that made you doubt yourself or your ability to succeed at things or to move forward through this? Who imprinted a similar belief or behavior that you picked up? I got this from, and just name who taught this to you. Tapping the thumb. I got this from, and name that person. It might have been your mum, it might have been your dad, it might have been someone who raised you. This person, and name who it is, showed me that, and what did they show you? What limiting pattern did they show you? Name the person, showed me that, and name the limiting pattern. Tapping the opposite side of the next finger. It's understandable that I doubt my ability to move forward. I never had a good teacher. They didn't show me because they didn't know how. Tapping the inside of the little finger. I forgive myself for however I've struggled with this. I forgive myself, tapping the side of the hand, for however I've struggled with this issue. Tapping the top of the head. Just send some forgiveness back to yourself for however you've struggled with this. You didn't have the right teacher to show you. The people who raised you had similar imprints of discord. I forgive myself for not knowing how to move through this. And I'm open to forgiving. And who's that person who imprinted it to you? Who's that person who passed on this same pattern of discord, this same belief, this same limitation? I'm open to forgiving myself and just name that person, for not knowing how to get through this and not showing me how to get through this. Tapping underneath the nose. I forgive them for not knowing how. And however this caused me pain. It caused me pain. It made me feel really stuck because they didn't know how to get through it either. I'm forgiving them for not knowing. Okay, so just tune into that person who passed on this pattern to you, this belief, this habit of not being able to move through. And let's just send a wave of compassion and forgiveness to them now, because anyone that passes on a limiting pattern is only because they weren't taught either. And it goes all the way back through all the generations. And so it's no one's fault. But it takes one person to change it for all the future generations. And that person is you right now. You can either hold on to your resistance and resentment towards that person for not showing you a better way, or you can forgive them for not knowing, and you can forgive yourself for not knowing, and you can change it for the rest of humanity, for all the generations that follow you. Are you guys ready to do that? Great, okay. I'm ready to forgive. And just name that person. Tapping the chest. I'm ready to forgive for not knowing a better way. I'm ready to forgive all of the generations that went before them who didn't know a better way, and how it really messed us up and made us fear life. I'm forgiving everyone for their fear and how it got passed on to me. Okay, so I want you to tune into everyone that's involved. And I want you just to breathe into sending some forgiveness back to everyone right now. Breathe into that, and then release some sound. Good. Tapping the front of the ribs. Even if they blame me, because I've been blaming them, even if they don't understand, I'm understanding now. And that's what matters. I'm forgiving them for not understanding. And I'm forgiving them for being afraid to understand. So just tune in. We all know what it feels like to be afraid of understanding, because that's where we started at the start of this session. So let's just send some forgiveness back to everyone else in our past who was afraid to really understand, who defended their point or blamed us or pointed back because they were afraid as well. And let's just tune into any resistance or any fear that we've got around them not getting it from us. And then take a long, deep breath and release some sound. Right, tapping the side of the wrist. It's possible we can move through this quickly now. It's possible things are changing. Things can really change now. Tapping the side of the thumb. I'm ready to really grow. I'm ready for life to happen. I'm ready to grow my gifts. Tapping this next finger. I'm ready to be seen and heard. I'm ready to celebrate who I am, even if others don't understand. Tapping the next finger. It's possible I can still be who I am, even if they don't understand. Tapping the opposite side of the next finger. I'm choosing to be who I am now, even if they don't understand. Okay, so I want you to tune into any resistance you have around like really shining your light and then people not getting it or not receiving it or judging it. And I want you to feel any like, oh, can I do it? And I want you to feel into that resistance, that little fear around like, bam, this is who I am. So I want you to feel that resistance towards it right now, because we all know on a deep level that if we shine, it gives others permission to shine. Okay? So let's tune into any resistance we have towards the other's judgment. And just lean into that uncomfortable feeling, that dark place that you feel when you feel the others judging you. And then lean into it. Let yourself be uncomfortable for a moment. That way we're going to clear it. And then take a long, deep breath and release some sound. Tapping the side of the hand. I love and deeply accept myself. And it's time for me to shine my gifts. It's possible the world really needs this. It's possible I can stand up and show up. I'm ready to show up. So what would that mean for you if you had to show up? I want you to tune into that vision right now. If you had to show up, what would you be doing? How would you be acting? What would you be saying to other people? And how would other people be reacting to you? How would you feel in your body? I want you to tune into that vision for your life. If you really showed up right now in this area, how would that feel? What would be going on if you really showed up? Tapping the temples. If I really showed up, I would, and I want you to describe it. If I really showed up, it would mean I'd have to what? Uh-oh. Might mean you have to do something that you're not used to. If I really showed up, I would have to. And I want you to feel what that would feel like when you step into that new superpower of yours. If you really show up. I want you to lean into what that would feel like if you step into that superpower right now. Let that cape fly behind you. Tapping underneath the lips. I want you to breathe into that vision, and I want you to release some sound. Tapping the chest. I'm ready to show up. And I forgive the world for being afraid. I forgive me for being afraid. And I'm done with being afraid. I'm ready to fiercely show up to the world now. I'm ready to claim who I am. Tapping the side of the thumb. I'm ready to claim what I deserve. And what is it that you deserve? Based on you really showing up and letting yourself have and be this transformation, what do you now deserve? I deserve, and tapping the next finger, I want you to name the top 3 things that you deserve, that you have earned as a result of really showing up in your life. Tapping the next finger, I deserve. Tapping the opposite side of the next finger, I deserve. Inside of the finger, this feels really, and what are the top 3 emotions that come up when you're really like juicy in that experience? This feels really. Tapping the side of the hand, this feels really, and I want you to say it out loud. I want you to call it so your neighbor can hear you. I want you to say it passionately. This feels really. I'm ready to step into this new me. I can do it. I've waited long enough. I'm ready for this. Even though I'm still a little nervous, and tune into what that final strand is for you, that final piece of being nervous. What is it? This nervousness around, and just describe that final piece, and maybe it's that you have to change your identity. Or maybe it's that you have to show up differently to others. What's that little piece of fear that's holding it together? This final piece of fear that tells me, and what is it? Tapping underneath the nose. I want to hold on to this. Tapping underneath the lips. I'm ready to let it go. Tapping the chest. No, I'm holding on to this. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm open to seeing what it looks like if I let it go. Tapping the side of the ribs. Could be more enjoyable. I can come back here whenever I want to. I can come back here to this scared, protective place whenever I want to. Tapping the side of the thumb, but I'm open to seeing what it's like if I let it go. Just for a moment. And I'll come back here whenever I want. Tapping the next finger, I'm open to seeing what it looks like if I let it go. Okay, guys, so let's do it. Let's be courageous together. Know that you can come back whenever you want, but let's just give it a go. See what it feels like to let go of that final piece of fear, that final piece of protection, that final piece of false safety, because it doesn't feel safe, even though you think you're holding on to it for safety. It really doesn't feel safe, does it? So maybe it feels safer if you let it go. Just maybe, I don't know. You could give it a go though, okay? So tapping the opposite side of the next finger, I'm ready to see what it feels like to let it go. And I forgive myself for being really scared and attached to this. Just give yourself some forgiveness for that attachment, that younger version of you that's really scared to let this final piece go. And then take a long, deep breath into it, release some sound. Good work, tapping the inside of the little finger. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. I'm a good person. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of feeling love. I'm worthy of feeling celebrated. I'm worthy of clear communication. Tapping the side of the hand. I'm worthy of feeling strong and grounded. I am strong and grounded. I have all that I need right here, right now. And what is it that you need right here, right now to take out into the world after we finish this tap? What is that quality that you need right here, right now that actually exists inside of you if you're daring or courageous enough to actually go scoop it up and say, this is mine? So what is it? It's possible I have this inside of me. I have this inside of me, and name what it is. Tapping the temples. I have, and name what it is inside of me. Say it again. I have inside of me. I'm ready to share, and name it again, with the world. I love and deeply accept myself. And I'm ready to share my life with the world. Because I can. And I want you to tap all over your body now. And I want you to say 10 affirmations out loud around what you're taking out into the world with you right now. About what those beautiful gifts that you get to share with the world. Well done, Celeste. Nice to see you going down there. Thanks for sharing your messages. Now just claim it out. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of financial abundance. What is it that you're worthy of? Because this is your call. This is your prayer. This is your intention. This is what you deserve. Just say it out loud. I want you to sing it to the heavens. And then tapping all over your body, I want you to take a really long, deep, juicy breath into all of that potential that's waiting for you right now. Big, deep breath and a big sigh. Ah, shake it out. Ah. Thank you, guys. Take a moment tonight and sit in some meditation. We moved a lot, so it's really nice to have a little stillness after a tapping session and just rest your hands on your heart and just tune into the visions that want to come through, because you'll often get a lot of little downloads or big downloads after you do a session if you take a little moment for meditation. So I want to thank everyone for showing up and also for sharing your comments. It really does help guide the session and helped me really guide you guys as well. So I just want to give you over to Harry and Erin and let those guys say a thank you as well, and abundant blessings.
Thank you, family, for showing up for yourselves tonight and for each other. Many blessings.
Loads of love, everyone. Good night. Thanks for being here.
Good night, everyone.